Financial disclaimer. The information provided in this stream is for educational and informational purposes only and should not be considered as professional financial or investment advice. We are not licensed financial advisors, and the content presented here is based on our personal opinions and experiences. Investing in stocks and other financial instruments involves risk, including the potential loss of capital. Any investment decisions you make are solely your own responsibility, and you should conduct your own research and consult with a qualified financial professional before making any investment choices. The content we share on this stream may not be accurate, complete, or up to date. Market conditions and financial regulations can change rapidly, and we cannot guarantee the accuracy or reliability of the information presented. We do not endorse or promote any specific stocks, companies, or investment strategies. Any actions you take based on the content of this stream are at your own risk, and we will not be held liable for any losses or damages that may occur as a result. Always remember that past performance is not indicative of future results, and no investment is guaranteed to be profitable. Make informed decisions and consider your risk tolerance before investing any funds. By accessing and using this stream, you acknowledge and agree that we are not responsible for any investment decisions you make as a result of the content presented. You are encouraged to seek advice from qualified financial professionals for personalized guidance. Please invest responsibly and only with money you can afford to lose.
Hey man, just found the next guaranteed multi-bagger.
Hey man, you found another one? What is it this time?
Come check this out.
Okay, next please. How can I help you, young man?
We want to go all in on QH. We like a company with an L-shaped chart that dilutes the USA shares but not the Chinese ones.
Well, that's fantastic. A really smart decision, young man. We can put that checked and it's gone.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Laughing Stock. Dane, I swear you look different than last time I saw you. What is going on here?
No, this is pretty normal for me.
Okay. Yeah. Nice.
Working on my trading.
Yeah, you have okay. I think you have turned into. Is your plan to get into one of those books here, or what is this?
Yeah, if I can become a market wizard, this is my step towards it. So
I think you have cracked the code here. This is how most people have done it. I think you need a YouTube channel and some nice looking costumes.
Yeah, this is probably as close as I'll ever get to a market wizard. So I'll just rock this.
Yeah, you are the laughing stock market wizard. Oh, that should be the enough.
That makes me feel better.
Yeah,
much better.
Yeah, how's your week been?
It was. I guess it's mixed. I was down about 1% for the week, so nothing crazy, but I was down a lot more than that, and I kind of adjusted what I was doing. Just taken into a bunch of accounts on different things I've tried, and I'm kind of done with another testing phase. I feel like I do this, which is probably stupid, but I fund all my testing by like I have a good period, and then I test a bunch of stuff and realize it doesn't work and lose all my money, and then now I know that my test is done. So, but I am learning. Don't get me wrong. I'm learning every time I fail. I'm like, okay, this, like you got to do it like this or adjust these things. So towards the end of the week, I made some really great trades. So it kind of saved me instead of taking a huge hit for the week. And I'm still in some of those names now, so hopefully they continue into next week. But overall, so I'm happy with the progress, even though I was down.
Yeah, that's good. We have talked a little bit in the chat we have about the process, right? And fine tuning things and still understand like, I should add this to the process, and I think even if it has been hard to stay in some of the names lately, it's been a learning experience in terms of fine-tuning the process a bit.
Yeah, I think through your mistakes. I mean, that's how you're going to learn this. You kind of have to do it. You got to learn the mistakes yourself, and that's kind of like what hones you into whatever is going to work for you,
Yeah.
assuming it
think
works for me.
Speaking of things that it's hard to stay in, we brought up QH in the intro video today, and I think I'm just gonna jump into the chart because I really like this chart, Dane.
Yeah,
What are you thinking about it?
it's been a solid short.
Let me remove some noise here so you can see this beauty. It's a perfect L, and you get it twice. It's like a LL here.
Yeah, I can't believe someone was buying this the day before that dropped at. I mean, I feel bad. I honestly do, but someone was just
100.
paying $150
Yeah.
for this, and then oof, in a day. And then
Yeah.
once again, you got people coming in here trying to support this base here. This is why I don't buy in a downtrend.
Yeah. We talked about it just before we went on. Like we have seen these types of drops before in things we have been in, and it's just terrible, right?
Yeah, it does suck, and honestly, the problem with something like this too is there's no way to get out of this before it just collapses.
Yeah.
You know, like,
No, you are.
and if you're ever in
True.
this position, we've all been there before, and it's
Yeah.
the worst thing because it just kills you because there's nothing you can do, and something's already moving so quickly against you. Just get out.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
It's quickly as you can.
I was listening to Lance at one point, and he said that when he's in one of these positions and he realizes it's against him and there's nothing he can do. And mind you, it's even worse for him because he's got pretty good size on some of these things, so he might not be able to just get out.
Yeah.
He's like, I just start selling a few shares. I sell anything, and he's like, and it just kind of like relieves that pain all of a sudden because you're like, okay, like you just kind of have to accept it and move on instead of sitting there and be like, oh, like can it come back or whatever. Even if it does bounce back, like I still think the right move is just to get out.
Yeah. And
Reassess afterwards with a clean mind.
this for me, this has been the best part that I've liked in swing trading that that I don't have in swing trading that you could very well sit on in deep value.
Yeah.
So even if we started to use stop loss at minus 10% and all that stuff, but still in deep value you can hold through earnings and things can gap down pretty massive, and there's nothing you can do about it.
I mean,
So,
earnings per share now is $293 a share. That's pretty good.
You want to know the ADR on this one?
Yeah, actually, I'm curious.
It's 158.66.
That's what Q says. You take the high ADR.
Yeah, these are the ones you want to be. And also, it dropped below $1 right now, so
Anytime it's below $1, it's a buy. It's on sale.
it has a lot of things going for it.
That's not financial advice.
Yeah, I kind of have the same. I'm down for the week. I got stopped on Tuesday, I think it was, on most positions, and I didn't do much after that, to be honest. I tried to manage the ones I was still in, which is LITE, LITE, and BlackBerry. I'm still in BlackBerry actually. So and LITE has been good for me. I'm up more than 10% on it, and I trimmed the position on the exactly right day so far, day number 4 for me, which was 29th of October. So now I just have half the position left, and I managed to raise a stop. So now I'm the way I've done it now is that I raise the stop. I don't want to make the remaining shares drop too much, so I raise it instantly. If I'm well above 10%, I raise the stop up to my 10% mark, and then I wait for the 10-day moving average to catch up to it, and then I start to trade it. That's what I've done on a few positions, just to secure some gains, because I need the gain. I need the gains. So that's the way I have done it, and so far it has not kicked me out of too many too early, to be honest. But this one, I will be okay if it does kick me out here. Instead of giving back, the remaining gains, and just wait for the 10-day to catch up. And and then and LITE, they have earnings soon as well, so I'm planning to sell, before the earnings. I think they have it on Tuesday.
Nice. Yeah, I'm in a few positions that earnings are coming up, and I'm definitely will at least trim before. I'm not going to ride out earnings with a full position.
Yeah, no,
I'm not that ballsy anymore.
no,
But yeah, I think so. I built a new spreadsheet here, and once again, I apologize, guys. My computer's still effed up, so um, maybe next week. I have no time to work on it, which is the worst part.
yeah,
So it just is what it is. But either way, yeah, I took 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 positions this week. So I've built a new spreadsheet. I'm keeping track of everything. I'm keeping track of my buys, my sells, what my goal is in terms of getting out.
yeah,
I'm recording what my losses are, very accurately. And then what I wanted to do, and actually this is because you had brought this up, Johnny, that you were kind of watching this, is I'm going to right now I'm keeping some of the positions that do well till the 10-day moving average, and I'm going to record what I end up getting out of that. But then I'm also going to record the 20 just to keep an eye
yeah,
on some names and see
yeah,
in the long run, will I be better off to do that versus keep the 10? And
yeah,
I'm sure that will depend on the actual stock, and it will depend on probably the performance of the markets too. Like if you're coming out of like a bear market, maybe the 20 is the better idea, just because you can really let it run for a while. Where if
yeah.
you're into like a sideways market, or things get a little choppy, like the 10-day, you might want to be thinking there. So obviously it'll be something good to reflect on.
It's definitely interesting, and also the trick, if you find that's better to use, the trick will be to or the skill will be to decide in which stocks and in which situation you should go down to the 20-day and use that instead. But I can also, like, one negative I see about it is that you get longer holding periods, so you get less turnover, I guess. But as long as the gains grow with that method, I'm gonna do it if that's my finding. But I saw it in a Trader Lion interview, and I found it really interesting.
Yeah, and I've thought that as well, but at the same time too, you have to remember, if you're in a stock and it's still going up, and it ends up working where the 20-day is more positive, you're also not risking that capital on a new position that might not work out too.
Yeah, that's
So
true. And
it's hard to say that, just because you have the money, that it's worth putting the money into something else.
yeah, no, with the
So
hit
I
rate
go
I've
back and
had,
forth with both of it, but
yeah, because you're gonna get the, well, so far, maybe we will improve that, but our hit rates are not like Minervini with 50% and all that stuff, So that is a good point, but it just made sense to me, because as soon as he said it and showed the statistics that he had, I was thinking, yeah, that's pretty accurate for the trades I have taken in and been successful with.
yeah.
So it
Yeah, and
made
right
sense to
now,
me.
I on my trades from last week, I am about 50%.
Yeah, yeah, you are
So
nice. Yeah,
yeah, so I mean, and it's only 1 week, so
yeah,
it's not that big of a deal. But I really adjusted some things this week, and it just makes sense to me. It's a lot of reflection of everything I've been doing, and kind of how I want to position size, how I want to tackle risk, how I want to make sure that I'm guaranteeing that I'm outperforming my losers. Um, and then I think having that all set now in my mind, and having really clear sell rules is definitely more comforting to me. And then on top of it, now it's just focusing on good setups. Like,
yeah,
don't buy into something if the setup's not proper. Like, it should be a proper setup, and it should have like a few different variables in terms of like when it's a breakout, like is it a strong breakout? And I think as long as I follow that, I should be able to do pretty good. So I don't know, like I guess looking back on everything, and I was kind of texting you this yesterday. It looks to me like what I had been doing before, where I was just buying breakouts and using kind of like a standard position size.
Yeah.
That was performing okay for me. Like I said, I was up. I don't know what I'm at right now because I don't have my old spreadsheet from my computer, but I'm guessing I'm still in the like 20% somewhere is what I'm up. And either way, my point is I'm outperforming the market. So it's not like that strategy was a bad strategy, but obviously we're always trying to hone it and perform on it. So taking the lessons I've learned and applying it to what was already working for me is like what I've done this week.
Yeah.
And like I said, in the testing phase, that's where you can lose some money because you're trying different things, you're seeing what works, you're seeing what doesn't work. So you just kind of have to take those. Like I don't know how else to I don't know how else to do it. I could pretend in my mind that I'm going to try different things, but like until you're actually buying and selling stuff, like it's tough to really say in hindsight, like, oh, this would have worked or this wouldn't have worked. Like, just go do it. And is it working or not? Because if it's not, like, the proof's right there. You don't have to, like, you know, because it's so easy to be biased and be like, well, I might have bought this one and probably not this one, you know,
Yeah. True.
and like
Uh,
that's probably not what would have happened. You probably would have
no.
bought both or neither,
Yeah.
or who knows.
And just one thing you can think about then is when the market is open, and let's say like we have talked about before, that you have on your list 7 names or whatever, and you pick in a little bit of a rush, you pick one and it doesn't go against you, and then one of the other ones, I mean, it does go against you, and then one of the other ones goes up. It's very easy to say in hindsight that you should have taken the other one because of this and this, but just that stress factor and that you have to execute quickly,
Right.
that takes away from, it's not going to be like you think it would have been in hindsight.
Yeah. So I'm hopeful going forward that things looks good, but
Yeah, I'm a bit last week we talked about that we are a bit positive towards the market, and it has continued up. But we have also seen some big companies missing on earnings and stuff like that. We are in the middle of the earnings season now, and maybe I have changed my mind a little bit. Then it's not that it matters, but I'm a bit more careful now moving forward. But I have to say at the same time, my daily watch lists are still pretty long. There's a lot of setups out there, but it's just hard to stay in them, I think.
Yeah, and that's why I said like one of the things I'm trying to focus on, in reason being, is because it's tough to stay in these setups. Is I'm trying to find ones that are really really breaking out from a pivot point. On top of the fact that it's breaking out of from a pivot point, that it's a like the setup looks really good. On top of the fact it's breaking out, because this was, I said last week I was trying some pullback type stuff, and I had mixed results with that. But the problem with the pullbacks is, um, no matter what, you have to scale into that position because you're not taking a full position on a scale back, because that doesn't make any sense. Like you should almost be probing the market, which
Yeah,
if I had more time, I could see that maybe being more of a serious like way of doing it. But it's tough because then you have to make sure that you are averaging in properly to the ones that do work out. So it just
yeah,
means you need to stay on top of like a lot more names that you're already in, as opposed to just like getting in, you're in the name, and then like whatever happens.
yeah.
Um, so
Because
I've kind of decided that approach. Well, I do think it could work.
yeah,
It takes a lot of effort because you could really be good with charts,
yeah,
and focusing on the ones that can bounce back from when they pull back.
yeah.
But
But it would be a nice skill set to have, because another point that currently in this market, there are a lot of stocks that just keeps going higher and higher and higher, and they don't offer any setups, but they do offer some pullbacks that you could have entered them on.
Yeah, well, and the other thing I liked from doing pullbacks is it really teaches you, like, if you're really focused on the pullback and where you should buy on a pullback, it teaches you on a long stock that you're going to get in. If it gets to this point and it breaks it, like, that's where it would break on a pullback.
Yeah,
So you really shouldn't be buying, like, you should be getting out of that stock if it's doing that. Like, when you see
yeah,
that pattern arise, you know, just get out, because at that point, that's where you'd be buying on a pullback. So if it can't even sustain it there, like support is broken.
Yeah, I saw an interview. I don't remember which one. I've seen so many lately, but the point was because the guy asked him what kind of books he had read, and he mentioned one book about shorting, and he said, I'm not so interested in shorting, and I rarely do it, but I want to see. I think it's a good thing to understand because I can see the signs when something is about to turn,
True. Yeah, no,
which
and
is
that's almost the exact same idea of what I'm saying on the pullbacks. Like it
yeah,
shows you what's going, what, now you're almost doing the exact opposite of what, because it's like, okay, where's the last line of resistance? And like if it breaks this, like you're done.
yeah,
And that's where you kind of take the risk if you're going to do pullbacks. But
yeah.
same idea. If you know exactly where a short would buy, you better not be buying there.
No, maybe that's a trim era, and
Yeah,
be a
true,
bit
true.
careful there. So I thought that was a good way. Even though you don't short, you should always try to improve things. These are all signs you have to read in in the present time in a chaotic environment that you should train your eye and your brain to notice quickly so you can act on it.
Right. No,
Yeah.
I agree.
I'm also
Um,
in BlackBerry still. This is moving slow. I'm so far I'm just up a couple of percentages or something like that. I'm working on moving the stop to break even. But
mhm.
I have some time on this because it's far from earnings for them, and I think the cup and handle pattern is still intact here. So I'm intending to keep it, but I will be quickly out if this turns against me.
Yeah, I mean, if this can break 5, it looks like it could run.
Yeah, exactly, and that's it. It's just been slow moving so far, and the ADR is also shrinking. It's just above 4 now. But I see the volume, coming in before the last earnings report, which is very recently. So and these guys are not selling, so I'm sticking with it so far.
Yeah, I mean, it's a super nice cup and handle.
Yeah, it
Like if you
is.
count from July to October, like that's a beautiful cup.
Yeah, exactly. Um,
So we'll see.
yeah.
We'll see if
So
it can break there. But
those are my two positions right now. But like I said, I have a long watch list here. The most exciting for me right now. I want to try to get into Rocket Lab again. Um, I'm waiting. It's letting the 50-day catch up a little bit here, but it had an ugly day on Thursday, which a lot of other things also had. But if this can tighten up and then come on another breakout, I think I will take it because it had some good volume on the path up where I was in it from 2nd of October. I think I took it, or yeah, it was on 2nd, I think. And then it came in with some heavy volume on the run up here, and I got stopped out on this day, I think 21st or something like that. So
yeah,
Rocket Lab is it's also in a nice space, aerospace and defense. So yeah, I still like Rocket Lab.
yeah. What's the ADR on this?
It's almost 7,
Yeah, okay. I was gonna say it
and
looks pretty good.
2.16 times its ATR percentage above the 50 day. So the 50 day is getting close, which is also something I look for now. That's pretty
Yeah.
low. So if this can break out on new volume, I might try to jump in again. And then another stock I was in, but I got stopped out at a break-even point was ESPR, and I think we talked about this on the last stream. We kind of liked it, both of us, but that was here on Friday, 24th of October. Let me do like the replay function here. If you go back to here, this looked pretty good, and then the next day, this is where I took it on Monday. And I got
Mhm.
in a little bit late on it, and it didn't even reach the average volume day on Monday, so I was a bit hesitant, but it did have more volume than the previous days, so I decided to take it anyways. And it did work out for the next day, and then it had a very ugly day where I got stopped at a break-even point. But I think it's setting up Hold on. It's setting up maybe again now. But I told you before the stream that it has earnings on Thursday, so I'm a bit hesitant to jump back into this one.
Yeah, it's kind of tough because the earnings being right there. But if earnings come out and it doesn't move out of this breakout pad or out of the base pattern here,
I
it
will
definitely
keep an
leaves an
eye on it.
opportunity.
Yeah,
Because that's the
but
thing too. Like there's names that like I kind of watch because I still like the setup. And yes, I might have gotten stopped out, but that doesn't mean I want to be out of it.
yeah, no,
Um,
exactly. and
so
and
yeah,
and
it
we
just
also
kind of is
talked
what it
about
is.
like this looked good, but sometimes they just don't work, you know.
Right. Which is
So
what it is.
yeah. And I think the latest one, these are the top three I have for Monday at least, is ASTS, which in my view, they had a very fantastic news on, I think it was on Wednesday, with a deal with Saudi Arabia for some satellite network and stuff like that. And it barely moved. And then it actually fell after and it did not come back, you know. They have
Mhm.
earnings in 9 days, and at the same time, if you saw what happened in GSAT the other day, then did you see that at the end of the day on Thursday, this stock, it went up 30% on a potential. It was some news about a potential deal with SpaceX.
Yeah, I saw this one too late, but yes.
So this has moved heavily on that, and I saw people were commenting like ASTS is a much better company. I don't know if that is true or not, but maybe with the Saudi Arabia deal here, they wanted to move to, I don't know, probably not. But the point is that there are things happening in this space, and I think ASTS can have a move just a bit later on that news it had, because there was quite a lot of money from that deal coming in. Also prepayment.
Yeah, I mean, they're saying it's a much better company, and I can't speak to that because
No,
honestly, they don't, neither of them have earnings or anything. So
yeah, no,
sure.
I don't know.
And I don't know what their debt situation is too, because that's something like when I go into, like my problem is right now is like I feel like when I go to get into something, I need to be kind of quick, so I don't always have the time to delve into the fundamentals. And like I
Yeah,
wish I had more time to sit there and to look at those kind of things.
yeah,
Because I think that's why Minervini, it makes so much sense for him to say like before each day, pull up a bunch of stuff that's close or looks close and decent setups, go through, just kind of figure out which ones have like probably decent ADR or whatever he's looking for. I'm sure his is probably more volume, and dollar volume, coming in and focusing on the contraction phase of things, but being able to just keep an eye on like what's increasing earnings, what's increasing revenues, how much debt do they have. Like if you just looked at those three things on companies, is revenues and earnings increasing, and is the balance sheet reasonable, I think you could just kill it.
no, that is true. I just pulled out the news they had. It says like they recently, the Saudi telecom company known as the STC Group has signed a 10-year commercial agreement with ASTS, and they have prepaid 175 million for future services and made a long-term commercial revenue commitment. So it just seemed like a good deal to me, and it barely moved. So and then it dropped. So maybe I'm expecting like a bigger move soon, you know.
Yeah. um
It's on the watch list.
yeah, I mean, sometimes these things just take a while to play out.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a big mover for the year. I mean, this stock's way up, so
Yeah, it is, and it got some good volume back here in June when it
yeah. And
first
there
started.
was such heavy buying in
Yeah,
September, or actually the start of October.
yeah, here, yeah,
Like a lot of people probably are in it from there.
yeah, exactly. So, And there was a little bit of sell-off after, but not too much.
Well,
So,
that selling that comes after is just because everything gets so overdone. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah,
Like the volume that came in on the 8th. I mean, that's 45 million.
yeah.
that's that's a lot of volume.
That's a lot of volume. No, but this one is interesting to me. I think those are my 3 that I'm going to keep on close eye on opening on Monday. But usually I'm wrong, and someone else in the list will perform.
Yeah.
I saw there was some
Yeah.
stuff with open as well. We have talked about open before.
Yeah, I saw their chart at some point. And this is that clean setup where the 50-day just catches up.
Yeah,
So it's real interesting to see if it can hover above that 50, because that puts a
yeah,
lot of stress on it to move upwards. And
yeah.
I mean, you look at the volume contraction here and stuff. It looks pretty good right here.
It looked pretty good. What I guess it has tried to break out from the decline a few times now, and it's coming back. But I think when you see that support on the 50-day, it just gives me a bit more confidence that the next breakout will be a good one.
Yeah.
But then also, if it comes around and turn against you, you have to take it quickly out, because then it's probably gonna drop a little bit.
Yeah, and that's why at this point I have my risk kind of locked in, so I don't really have to worry about if it moves. I'm really just saying, like, when it breaks above like a line of resistance, at that point it should turn immediately into a line of support. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So if it if
yeah,
it if it flip flops and all of a sudden now you got a lot of people interested in making it stay above that price, because that's really what institutional buyers are doing.
yeah,
Like, if they get something above a support line, they're gonna put buy orders in at that line. So if you're trying to figure out, hey, are people buying or not? Well, if it keeps breaking below that support, then no, they're not. Like, you're not in one where it's being held up by some institution.
yeah.
So
And
yeah, just you
opposite
you, you
to
can kind of keep it tight and just make sure that it stays above it.
yeah, no, true. I was gonna say opposite to ESPR, where I'm a bit more hesitant to take it because they have earnings on Thursday. This open company also have earnings on Thursday, but if this breaks out on Monday, I think I will still go into it and sell before the earnings anyways, because this has showed in the past that it can move drastically in a few days.
Yeah, and I'm at the point here where I kind of see what Kulamagi says in terms of, and this is pretty deep in all these guys who have talked about the EP. And when there's a earnings, for instance, that's going to make something break out, um, I feel like the way to play it is wait till, I mean, it's gonna open up probably gapped up. So obviously you can't use like the previous breakout point, or you can't use like a previous low in the base because it's already up too much. You won't be able to size into it properly. So I'm starting to understand the whole idea of an EP is once it's gapped up, like you still want to play it because you can still get in. So just make sure that you're waiting for like a good pullback on that chart, and using low of the day as your exit essentially.
Yeah,
And if it's truly an episodic pivot, it's gonna continue up, and then you can immediately start riding that till, I don't know, whatever you want, because sometimes EPs, they pop up in one day and then they usually pull back for the next few days.
yeah.
um
They
so I
talk
don't know what you
about
want to use. You use a 10-day or whatever, or,
yeah,
or or just sell something at the end of the day and just catch the move. I don't know, however
yeah.
you want to play it, but
They
but
talk
uh,
about
I
how
am I
they
am interested in watching EPs when I see them
yeah.
when I see
No,
them
I
happen.
agree. One of my good trades was on a EP in BE. In July, I think it was. But my big mistake was I sold way too early. It's so painful to see that chart now. But anyways, they talk about in the EP that they kind of wait till the first minute candle is done, and if it continues to move above the first minute candle, they take it at that position. But if they are too late in that, they use the 5 minute instead, and the same applies. Like you take it after the next 5 minute candle breaks above the previous one. So that's the entry tactic.
Yeah, this is a good example of do you use the 10 or the 20? Because the 20 here would have kept you in it this whole time.
Which on B?
Yeah, and BE.
Yeah, I know, and that's what I told you before. You know, when I saw that and I started to think about my trades, it did apply. You know,
Yeah.
and you know where I took this, Dane? I took it on Thursday, 24th of July. I got in
Yeah,
at
I remember you telling me.
$30.
And
But it
honestly,
was,
30, you bought it right at 30?
I know, it was perfect. I bought it pre-market as a little bit of a gamble that this will continue to go up, and then I got in around 30 low, you know.
Yeah, no, because that, I mean, yeah, it's perfect.
Yeah, and the only thing that makes me a bit better is that I because it was something new, I did exceptionally poor in July with all other things. I took a small position, so it wasn't like a full position or anything like that, but still, uh, like you said, this bounces off the 20 so good, so you would actually still be in this one.
Yeah, and even if you had sold, a big like half your position or whatever your sell rules are, I mean,
Yeah,
half a position in this that goes up to it's at $130 now.
yeah,
That's a good return.
yeah, I know. But yeah, that was my first try at a EP. So I tried a couple more and it failed, so I quickly stopped because already I was doing poorly in July. You know?
Yeah, one thing that I've thought too is in terms of using the 10 versus the 20-day is like this is a good example of it because see how the 20-day keeps really tight to the 10?
Yeah, all the way.
I like that because that way it kind of like it's not going to drop so much past the 10 that if it really breaks through the 20, you're going to be like, oh my God, I can't believe I didn't use the 10 over the 20.
Yeah,
Where for instance, like if you said you were going to use like the 50 on this, like the 50 is down at $82 right now from 132. If you waited till you got out on the 50-day,
yeah,
like that's a pretty big gap. So one thing I've been thinking about is if that 20 days really close to the 10, it might be worth using that because
yeah. No, I agree.
if you go back, like look at November. So
Yeah,
see how it jumped really fast in November because I think it was the 15th of November is up 60% a day.
yeah, yeah,
Now, see how the 10 and the 20 from there are pretty spread apart?
yeah,
Like, now, don't get me wrong, actually, you probably would have got stopped out on the 20 or the 10. It's about the same thing. It didn't really matter. But that's kind of my point. Since the 20 is like a decent distance from the 10 on that one, like just focus on the 10. But if that 20 stayed even closer to it, so
yeah, yeah,
I guess my point being is if it's a really, really explosive move, you're probably going to want to use the 10. If
yeah,
it's this more slow, like steady trickle upwards,
yeah.
you could probably use the 20.
Look at how few down days this has up until here where it moved sideways a bit in the beginning of October. It's pretty
Right.
incredible.
No, it's a solid chart. I mean,
Yeah,
it's really, I mean, that's a spectacular 3-month move.
yeah. And I
And
was
that
gonna
that's why I
say,
said this becomes like a beautiful position trade.
yeah, exactly. It would make a difference. These are the ones. But you talked about if you had used the 50-day here also, and that guy also had he had gone through the performance of using the 50-day as well, and it would have given him a little bit better gain, but it wasn't a lot at all versus the 20-day. So I just said, like, I'm not going to hold to the 50-day, but the 20-day looks interesting because from the 10-day to the 20-day, that was a big gap up in terms of gains.
Yeah, and this
But
also has so many times you could have got back into it. Like
yeah, I have
on
drawn some
the
nice.
August 12th, it broke out again. August 22nd, it broke out again.
Yeah,
September 10th, it broke out again.
yeah.
And then most
October.
recently, October 13th.
Yeah,
So there's just so many examples of where you could have got in on this.
yeah,
Um, Even so, my point being is, you're riding that 20-day with part of your position, but then you just keep adding on and then, selling a little bit. And then that position just keeps growing, that part that's running on the 20-day. Like for instance, if you took this 4 different times and each time you sold out half your position, after like 3 to 5 days and took that gain, well, now you still each time have 50% left of that position, and those start to compound on top of each other.
Yeah.
So this is a kind of play that if you play this perfectly, which not easy to do, but if you are able, I mean, you can really make some serious capital on just one stock.
Yeah. In a short period of time.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's these are the one you should study, you know. And this has
Yeah.
turned into like a little bit of a bigger leader in his bull run. It's amongst those names, you know. So no, a great move. I saw kind of like the base Job is creating then, JOBY.
I don't
But they
think-
have earnings very soon though, on Wednesday.
Yeah, yeah, it just has a little ways to go from here for me, but
Yeah, and
it's
and
fine.
it's a little bit messy, but and especially with the earnings. But yeah, I don't know. I kept it on the list. I'm not gonna take it this week. I bet, but just to watch. There's
Yeah,
actually
no, I
also
mean,
some.
if this, for instance, if this does well on earnings and it pushes up to that $20 mark, like
Yeah,
it's a buy.
yeah, that is true. My line is just a little bit deeper, but I agree with that because there's no resistance then.
Right.
I saw some of the quantity names are actually finding some support on the 50 day, you know.
Yeah.
Um,
One of the ones that's annoying to me because it's a pink slip, so I can't set a stop loss. And if I was actively watching, I would buy these companies. But any of the foreign ones that don't have, I can't set a stop loss on. I don't want to be in them because honestly, I can't watch it that closely, and I want to get killed on one of these. But it's QNCCF.
and CCF, yeah,
Mhm.
yeah,
This has been killing it. And I saw it on October 7th, as well as all these different days, October 14th, and then again on the 20th.
yeah,
Um, and I'm just not taking these ones because, like I said, I can't watch it, and it just kind of sucks because I do like some of these companies that are foreign.
yeah. No, this I remember you were in this one a little bit.
So
Yeah,
yeah, and like I said, I've done it in the past, and some of them have worked out, but it's also it's just so risky because, like I said, I have to really keep an eye on these ones just in case it breaks down.
yeah. Another one I find a little bit interesting now is iron.
What's the ticker?
IREN. Same issue though, earnings soon, but in the base that it's creating now, volume is drying off. It has a massive move up. That's maybe something that it's almost up 800%. So at some point it's gonna turn around, you know. But yeah, I'm just gonna watch it.
Yeah, I just the way the pattern looks here and all that volume being sold here in October, it makes me think that this might be at the peak.
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
We might be ready for stage 3.
Yeah. And it did move a little bit more upwards here in beginning of October than it has done before.
But I say that, but I mean, if you look back in the end of July into August, it has almost the exact same volume pattern.
Yeah, it's heavy volume. Yeah, no, it's true.
But yeah, some of these just tend to get extended.
Yeah, and 700% up. At some point, it's gonna stop.
And PE is like 150, 155. Like
Yeah.
it's overpriced here.
Yeah, but you can
No
still
matter what
catch a
metric.
you can still catch a move though.
No, I'm not saying I'm
Yeah.
not saying I don't buy because the PE is
Yeah.
incredibly high. Like trust me, a PE at this point, I mean, it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
But or at least in the context of people buying the stock. Like no one cares. No one's looking at PE once it's above a PE of like 30 or 40, unless it's like Nvidia. Like
Yeah,
that's an unreasonable number.
yeah. No, um, yeah, I don't know. The other ones here, I've had them on the list for a little bit, a lot of them, and the problem with them so far, while I've been tracking them, is they come in with so little volume, and that can be good because if they continue to build a base and consolidate with low volume, that's what you want to see, and things tightening up. But at the same time, I've kicked out some tickers because they have broken out on low volume, and I've not taken them because it's just that's just a rule I have now. That if I know Kulamagi, he claims that he doesn't look at necessarily at the volume needs to be this and this amount of volume on a breakout, but he always, at the same time, he always referred to a breakout that it breaks out on volume. So, but sometimes I see he's rating his setups and they have they are below average volume, but what he then refers to is like they have more volume than the previous days, pretty drastic as well. So it's
Yeah, I
just
guess that's a
like,
good point. Is instead of focusing on the volume like over a really long period of time, more just in
yeah,
the more recent period.
yeah,
When does it spike up?
yeah. And by the way, I'm with my average, I'm using like 50-day average because I took that from David Ryan.
Yeah.
I know some people use 20 and other periods, but I use a bit longer. So yeah, but I like it to be around the average though on a breakout. It can't be like has a 40 in R volume. That's a bit low.
Yeah, and I mean, even if you look at if you I can't see your screen, but if you still have IREN up,
Yeah, I can go to iron. Yeah,
yeah, so like in June, that first day, June, it hasn't quite broken out yet, but there's 30 million volume on June 20th.
yeah,
And then once again, really strong volume on June 23rd, and like it's still bouncing around. But
yeah,
then you just keep seeing that strong volume, even on the 24th, like once again, another 30 million volume.
yeah,
Like there's almost a pattern to see in that. Like that just goes to show you, like there's people looking at the stock right now. And then, this is the kind of one too. Like if you hold this, like you can catch a huge move here.
yeah. And also, if you look, on my chart, I have it. David Ryan, he created the ants pattern, which is based on a few criteria, but it shows up as these dots over the bars that I have here. And in this period that you are talking about, the first ants starts to appear. But what's also interesting, if you go back to the move before that, I'm talking about in May, you
Hmm.
see the same thing. The volume is coming in heavily, uh, and then it breaks above the 200-day moving average, and then you like you said, you see the volume just continue to come in, and this is where you want to be in it.
Yeah, and on top of all that too, just in the general context of um like what was happening in the markets, like we were at the peak of or
Yeah,
the I should say the low of the tariff scare.
yeah,
And this reacts really well coming out of that, like
yeah.
in May it just kills it.
It was a
And
it
then
was a leader straight away, I think.
right, that's what I'm saying. Like even
Yeah,
though it came down, since February, it started pulling right back up. And then, already by what is that, July, now we're higher than it's ever been. At
yeah,
least I can't I'm not looking that far back, but I can look at a 2 year here. But yeah, it's higher than, almost on the 2 year.
yeah.
So
No,
you start
so
to see something like that, and it starts to really show you that this is a leader.
yeah, these are the ones we're gonna look for next time, Dane.
Yeah, so I was gonna say some of the names that I've been in. I just bought BFLY yesterday.
Yeah,
I'm hoping this one can sustain.
yeah. Good move on earnings.
So we'll see what Monday brings and if it keeps me in or not. But it just kind of is what it is.
Yeah.
Um,
Speaking of volume,
and
this
this
has
is the kind of one where I see that pattern where, you know, on the 30th, it's down a ton. And then you see that massive jump in volume on the 31st. Like that
yes.
to me, I've seen that chart happen so many times, especially on strong volume. These ones usually can run.
Yeah.
And I know we're coming out of a base, but or like a downtrend. But the fact that, you know, from August, September, there was an up move. September to October, there was an up move. Actually, there's 2 up moves in September. And then we kind of flagged down here for a while through October, and then we get this big boost right back up, and now we're above all the averages.
Yeah.
That's kind of what allowed me to take this, even though it's been in a bit of a downtrend.
It seems like it's ready for the next leg up.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
we'll see. I don't know. Like it might be a little choppy. That, you know, that's the only thing I was worried about is
It
I
is a
hope
bit
this isn't too
choppy.
choppy.
Yeah. But at the
But
same time, you see moves, you know, pretty violently on some of these gappers here. Gapping
yeah, and
down.
I mean, if you look, you know, October 3rd, it bounced out,
Yeah,
and then
exactly.
on, you know, it continued to push October 6th, and
Yeah.
yeah, it was all over the place on that day, but it still ended up the day 10% up, you know.
Yeah. But if you
So
look a bit further in 29 of May, those tops,
mhm.
it's exactly at those tops now. So if this continues up on Monday, I think you have made a very good purchase.
Yeah, that's the other thing too. Is I mean, this resistance, like you said, this is going back into almost into March, where you were
Yeah.
around like the 280s. There was some in there.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're right on that patch. So
Yeah.
we'll see.
Yeah.
What else am I BOSC?
Yeah.
I took this on the 28th. This one's been doing well.
Nice.
Um, and nothing crazy. It was just a long base, you know, in the 50-day head, in the 100-day head caught up, and you know, everything started looking at like it was in the right area. And then there was pretty strong volume on that day. So just those
Yeah.
2 things alone, like I said, I'm not doing anything in rocket science here. I'm just finding stuff that's breaking out from areas on strong volume.
Yeah. No, but that was a really strong volume as well.
Yeah, so yeah, that's another thing I'm looking forward to. Like when you look back, the only other day is this crazy day back on May 29th, but
Yeah.
this is the second highest volume it had ever had.
Yeah. And
So
then it has actually kept on having very good volume.
right.
Yeah.
So a
But
small company, but
yeah,
the
because
setup looked really good to me.
I was gonna say overall, though, the average dollar volume is below 1 million, which just means that some people with some money can manipulate it a bit, but so far it's working great.
Yeah, I mean, you know, for better or for worse.
Yeah,
This one I already have trimmed a little bit, so
yeah.
it's kind of okay at this point. It's all free money.
Do you still use that that you trim after the 5 first days, or in their
No,
scenario?
mine's all based on risk now.
Okay, yeah,
So I wait till I get up at least 3 to 1. So
yeah,
whatever my risk was, I want to make sure I'm at least above it 3 times, and then I'll
yeah,
start to trim. And
yeah,
that's kind of the way I've been handling my sell into strength. Instead of being like looking at the candles and trying to determine like how much strength am I in? Well, how much are you up? If you're up, you know, 3, 4 times your risk, like you're selling into strength. You have to be.
yeah.
So
But
that's kind of
it,
how I started handling it. And to be honest, it's like a huge weight off my shoulders because like
yeah,
you
no,
get
I
to
agree.
you get up a certain amount and then like there's no thought. You just sell at that point, and now
Yeah,
you've already locked in that you're up so much, you know, based on what your initial risk was. And
yeah.
then that's when I move my my sell
Well,
point to break even.
yeah, which feels
And,
very good to do that.
right. And then
Yeah,
like I said, I'm riding it that last bit's going in till the 10 or the 20 day.
yeah.
So
No, I
um
agree. That's like the best feeling with swing trading when you get those to work. And but let me ask you a different question then. If you haven't met your risk criteria for trimming within the first 5 days? Do you sell the position and move on, or do you stick with it?
To be honest, I haven't I haven't ran into it yet.
Yeah,
Just because like my where I'm setting like my sell point is always close to the pivot. So it's going to be really hard that it bounces around above the pivot without going much high. Like, I don't know. I guess I would stay in it most likely
yeah,
because um I don't know if it's able to sustain above where the pivot point is, even for 5 days, and it hasn't broken out.
yeah,
Most likely, it's about to break out.
yeah,
I just happen to be in it early, and and we're just waiting for whatever last bit of liquidity is there to dry up, and then it should take off from either that or it breaks down, and I'm on the wrong side of it,
yeah.
and then I just get stopped out. So I guess I don't really think of it anymore in terms of like, oh, it's
Days.
been
Yeah,
5 days and it hasn't
yeah,
moved where I want it to.
no,
I'm probably going to trim it. But
yeah,
let's say, for instance, it didn't like. Let's say it went up like 2 times my risk, and it hasn't
yeah,
quite hit 3 or 4, and it starts to pull back slowly each day.
yeah,
Maybe I'll consider then selling
exactly.
part of it just because it's starting to. It looks like it's not going to perform.
Yeah, and you should probably in that period raise your stop to break even.
Yeah, and you can. I mean, that's a simple way of then, that maybe that's what I would do. That's
Yeah,
probably a smart move is like, okay, it's not doing quite what I want it, and I don't want to
yeah,
lose anything now on it. So,
exactly. Yeah.
just move it up and, eliminate the risk.
I experienced this quite a bit actually before I made a small change to the process, because I had my filter around 4 ADR, and I was taking stuff with around 4 and 5 ADR, and I tried to take a higher ADR as well, but it was just I found more setups in those types of names. And
Mhm.
what I ended up doing is it took forever. It did broke. I had small gains on them, but then
Mhm.
like you just said, that they started to slowly turn against you, and I just ended up break even, and I didn't even trim the position because I wasn't up high enough. So I
Right.
made a small adjustment to just focus on even higher ADR. So I have my cutoff now at I don't really like anything below 5 ADR, which is high for a lot of people, but that worked really well for me when I started to focus on like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and above even. Then you get those big moves within the first 5 days.
Yeah. No, I think it all makes good sense.
And I'm speaking now in a late bull market. In the early stages, you can have 4 ADR move violently in the first days as well. But it's a bit more rare maybe in late stage of a bull market,
Yeah.
because they are already a bit up.
Right. No, I mean, for sure. Um, the next one is RDZN.
Again,
RDZN. Rhodesen.
oh sorry, RDCN. Yeah, I got it.
And this one, I bought this also, I think on that same day was at the 29th.
Yeah,
And this
Wednesday.
one was just like a really clean flag pattern to me.
Yeah, was here.
Making higher lows. Obviously had broken out from September 29th or whatever this was, or I guess it actually broke out on the 3rd or whatever. But
Yeah,
so first leg up, it's moving sideways, it's consolidating. I mean, you can see how small those candles were on the 24th through the 28th.
yeah, these three won.
And then some solid volume comes in as it's pushing above that 10-day. And, like I said, it just looks like a very clean flag pattern to me.
And before
Um,
that, on 22nd of October, you also had a nice bounce up again from the 20-day.
right. So yeah, it's just meeting all the criteria that, I'm looking for.
Yeah,
Um, and so this is another one I've already trimmed, and now I'm just riding it. So
yeah, good.
yesterday, I mean, it started high on Friday and then pulled back down, but I'm
Yeah,
still like, it's still a day up. It doesn't even, so um I'm not sure how long this will run for, but
no,
now at least I'm at break even for what's ever left of my position. So
yeah, nice.
what did this do after hours?
I just said
It's about the same. It ended. It didn't really do anything.
yeah.
Um,
It's a bit up. Though.
ARWR is another one that I'm in.
ARWR. Pharma. Yeah. Yeah, that's a clean chart, right?
Yeah, I think I mean I think I took this a little bit before either I can't remember if it was the 27th or the 28th, somewhere in there. I took it. It was probably on the 27th because that was like the first day it had really kind of broken up, and then it's just been slowly trickling up. So it's not the first part of the move of this company, but this is another company that has that like really strong upwards trend. So even though it's a bit extended from like the 50, like I didn't really worry about that so much. Just because it's in that strong uptrend. So
it is a bit extended, but it's still within the parameters, you know. It's when, at least from what I have seen and started to think about, it's when they reach like 8 and above that you should start to think about trimming. And this is now at 6.32. So still have some room. And I mean, you took it even below, so probably 5 something, you know, which is within the stuff that I also look for.
Yep. So just to show you one that didn't work out for me is CTEV, CTEV.
Yeah.
And I think I took this on the 27th or maybe even the 28th. I don't remember which one it was. And it just kind of trickled back down on me. So I got stopped out. But I still like it. I thought it was a decent head and shoulder pattern.
Yeah, but now maybe a cup and handle, and the handle is forming.
Right. And that's the kind of thing. So like this is on my radar. I'm just watching it to see if maybe there's another opportunity.
Because all those sell days are below average volume.
Right. So it still looks like a decent setup to me. I just had kept my stop kind of tight, and I just wanted to make sure I didn't get,
earnings on Friday though.
Yeah. So
that's a bit. It's a bit annoying with a lot of tickers now. You kind of are excited to see them setting up, and then the earnings is coming, so it's either going to break out properly or it's going to fall.
Well, and the good thing though is if it's going to pull back all week, let's say this keeps pulling back as we head into Friday. Hopefully, if Friday's good earnings and it starts to break out, I have a good chance of still getting in around 72,
around where you were
73.
Yeah.
Just because it's going to take a second for it to start to catch up to that number. Because a stock that's been moving this much, I don't think it would skyrocket too high, but we'll see. You never know.
Yeah.
So yeah, this one's on my watch list. Another the last one that was SSSS, 4 S's.
Yeah, I saw them.
And obviously I took this on what's it called? Thursday.
The earnings is on Tuesday, just so you know.
Yeah, no, I know it's close.
Yeah, but what you took them on Thursday? You said that was a good setup, I think.
Yeah, just strong volume. And like you said, earnings are coming up, so I'll probably be careful, and I'll definitely trim before earnings. But I'm hoping, because I'm pretty sure this is close to being up 2 or at least I think it's 3 times my risk. I can't remember. I don't remember what I'm up on this one. But if I'm able to trim at a good spot, I'll happily do it. If not, I'll just have to trim before earnings. But we'll see. We'll see where it goes from here. Once again, the 50 caught up, and
yeah, exactly.
It looks good.
And it found good support there. It got really tight, and then moved big time through all the averages, and is still up. And also historically, lately at least, this has moved in pretty clear stair steps.
Yeah, then that's so this is why I'm saying, like Q says, like the setup should be pretty clean and pretty clear.
Yeah.
And so that's what I'm trying to do. I'm not trying to, ones that are really choppy and stuff like that. Like I'm not trying to take those. I'm being really hesitant on those names. And I'm it's almost easier in my mind. Like I feel like a little bit more relaxed this week because when I'm scanning through, like there's really only a few that come up. And like when one comes up, it's exciting because it's like, ooh, this one looks good.
Yeah, exactly.
And then
what he also says though, it's like when you see those, you need to be on them, right?
Yeah, no, you got to go
Yeah.
quick.
Yeah.
You gotta calculate what your size and what your risk is, and
Yeah.
where you're going to stop out and that kind of thing. You got to do it quick.
Yeah.
Um, and that's almost part of the skill of it is like you need to be able to recognize that in like a second. Like you should be
Yeah.
able to look at a
Exactly.
chart and within 5 seconds know if it's a buy or a sell,
Yeah.
or a candidate for a buy at least. So
Yeah.
you can move on it. But this
Yeah.
is a PE of less than 5 with $2 in earnings per share.
Yeah.
So even fundamentally, it looks pretty good. I
Yeah.
know it's finance, so it's these aren't always those metrics get a little skewed with finance companies, but
Yeah. You don't care too much about like company paying dividends and stuff in swing trading, right? Do you?
no, I honestly, if I get a dividend, thank you.
Yeah. Exactly.
But if not, like, oh well.
Yeah. No, I have completely ignore those things. But one chart I forgot to go through earlier was RAPT, which I think looks interesting, but also earnings this coming week. But looks a bit good to me here.
Yeah, no, it looks good.
Biotech. Obviously, these big red candles. I don't necessarily like those. But if you cut them off, the base looks still good. But of course, you're not going to ignore those pullbacks here. So be
Yeah,
careful.
but
But
like almost
it
like,
has
it was up
volume.
to it had like a massive up day on what was that, the 20th? Like I'm not focused on that. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
that's kind of random noise.
yeah.
Like you said.
That's why
Uh,
with my lines, I just cut through them.
yeah, just cut them out and focus on where we are in the base.
Yeah, because you can argue, you can counter argue that point with the move up previously. Once again, my ants are showing up, which means the volume is just building, and it's probably bigger players buying up the stock,
Right.
and they have not sold a lot. It seems like there was some big selling volume here on the 22nd, but other than that, it's coming back again now. A bit of a purchase volume.
Hmm. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, no,
Yeah,
it looks good. And there was a lot of buying in September. Like, how many up days in a row is this? One,
yeah,
two,
that's what I'm
three, four,
talking about.
five,
Like
six,
from
7, 8, 9, 10, 11 days. You know like when I see that, and sure, there's a down day on September 19th, but then it still doesn't even stop again all the way until the September 30th.
yeah,
And once again, it's a single down day, which is then followed by a few more up days. So like
yeah, and
when you see that, like someone's buying.
this is one of the criteria to get those ants. It needs to be up 12 out of the 15 days that it measures it.
Right.
So and also there's some percentage that the volume needs to increase and stuff like that. I think it's 20% or something. But yeah, like you said, it just helps you point out that someone is really buying this one.
Yeah. No, it looks good.
Yeah.
Um,
But it's just on the watch list. It doesn't mean that it's a buy, but it's something to watch.
yeah, I'm not saying that you would buy this now. I would
Yeah.
never say to buy.
No.
It's just always. I
Uh,
I think it looks good. This is definitely something you can watch, and um,
what do you think about
it's
the?
right on the cusp of being able to move up.
Yeah, no, I agree, and also been a bit tight since those big red days. Just moving straight sideways on the
Right.
20-day moving average as well.
Yeah.
What do you think about KSS? Also one that found good support on the 50 recently.
Yeah. I mean,
A bit
it's
choppy
just
though.
kind of
Bit
yeah.
all
It's
over the
it's it's
place.
just kind of steady moving sideways.
Yeah,
Obviously, we need somewhere for this to break out.
yeah,
But like you said, 50 days caught up and looks pretty good.
yeah. And AMRC, they have earnings on Monday though.
Man, there's so many of these charts that just ever since, these ones that bounce strong off like that. Trust me, I know what you're saying. Next time there's a pullback, these names that bounce off those pullbacks well are going to be all over my radar
Yeah, I know. I
because
know.
some of
And
these names, man, they really
which
run.
which makes me, and I told you in the chat, I'm sure I'm going to make so many mistakes in the next one as well, but it just makes me excited. I get a chance to at least try to get into some of these ones and continue to learn. But I think I will be more on top of these moves in the next bull run we're gonna get
Yeah.
after a correction. But like I said, this according to TradingView, sometimes TradingView has the wrong dates. So just everyone who watches that, you have to check this yourself. But it says Monday is the earnings date for these ones, but it's actually not that extended anymore. It's three times its ATR from the 50-day right now.
Yep.
So maybe if it moves up slowly on earnings, you can catch a breakout here.
All right. Well, I think that's all I have right now.
Yeah, I think I've gone through most of the ones I look at for Monday. This list I'm changing it daily, so half of this list can be kicked out after Monday. So but what I've tried to do something lately, Dane. I'm trying to just to create like a base of um potentially themes that are emerging.
Hmm.
And one of them, I used the ETF XLV, which is like US healthcare sector. And the biotechs are of course connected to it a bit, but I tried to exclude the biotechs when I started to look at the tickers. And this had pretty good move on, you know, um, Tuesday, 30th of September and in the beginning of October, just straight through all the moving averages and have started to climb a little bit up and move sideways. So I added a lot of tickers that I'm watching that are connected to this field or this group, that maybe you will see catches a move a bit later in the bull market we have been in. But so far, um, it doesn't go anywhere really. So I'm not sure if it's gonna, play out or not. But it's something I watch.
Yeah. No, I mean, it looks pretty good.
If this can start it to run, but I know they had one of the big companies was included in that ETF, which probably drags the whole thing up, which was LLY. If you look at LLY, it's identical to the ETF chart.
Well, and that's one of the ways you can kind of take advantage of that fact is a lot of those it's kind of easy to see once you see that it's following exactly along one of those lines.
Yeah, but that's the biggest position in the ETF because I have checked it, but still, maybe something that will come a bit later here in the move, that I'm gonna keep an eye on. And if you saw, the ticker ESPR that we talked about earlier, that's part of this group. So
Still kicking myself about NEGG.
yeah, I saw NEGG the other day.
Stupid thing.
Yeah,
Easy come, easy go.
yeah. That's what I meant with open though. You have these tickers that it's worth getting into just some days before earnings because you can get moves like this in
Right.
2-3 days.
Yeah, it's all good. I mean, honestly, like I said, I had bought this on a pullback, and now, and don't get me wrong, the pullback would have been great because it would have been really low. But even if I had bought this now on the breakout, it pretty much held through the breakouts. So
Yeah. I think for this one, I would have taken it because I also watched it when you were telling, because you bought it a bit before I looked at it, and I would have bought it Monday, 20th of October, and that would have made me stop out before the actual breakout.
Yeah, like I said, I bought it on, I
You
think
bought
it
it
was like
here or
the
something.
16th or something like that.
Yeah.
But I should have, I set my stop at that 44.30, and I should have set it at the 40.48 from September 25th. So that was something I learned on pullbacks. Like in the base, make sure you go to the lowest point of the base. If
Yeah.
you're going to do that, that way
Yeah.
you can keep in. But once again, I would have been better off to take this on the breakout day and be able to size into it well.
Yeah, but it went up a lot in pre-market that day.
Yeah, well, it depends. Even though it was up, like you could have got into this. I mean, in the morning it opened at 47.77. You could have got in on that.
What a move. 40%.
Yep,
Yeah.
is what it is, right?
Yeah.
But
I saw AMPX did kind of break out on Friday.
what was it?
AMPX.
Oh, that was just on one of my lists to watch too.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, I still don't think it's quite broken out though.
Yeah.
What did this do after hours? Anything? Oh, it pushed to 14.16. That's pretty good.
Yeah. Another one I am I watched this one when it kind of broke out, AXTI. But it
Oh yeah,
kind of,
I've been watching this.
yeah.
This was on my list too, and I didn't take it. I really
No,
should have.
same. It kind of
I
gapped
just
off
missed
on
it.
me that day, but once again, my ants are showing up here, so someone is buying this now, and it just showed the positive earnings as well. And then the next day, you look at the volume, but of course, it did come back a little bit, but still up 8% on Friday.
Yeah,
So it's
this is one where
probably going to move
I can't. This got to
good.
$10 yesterday.
Huh? Yeah.
It's got all the
Wha-
way to almost $10
Yeah,
yesterday.
almost 10 bucks. It's getting a little bit extended, but so maybe you get a chance for another setup.
Yeah, it should pull back now.
Yeah, but no, a good move, right?
Yeah, no, it looks good.
What do you think about Sunrun, RUN? It's annoying to me.
I mean, yeah, this one will work at times. It's just a choppy, so it's just tough.
Yeah. But could break down also from here because it is moving a bit downwards also.
Right. Yeah, I'm not. This one's a little choppy for me. I'm
Yeah.
another one I'm trying to avoid is these really.
Yeah, I agree.
There's just a lot of opportunity to get stopped on this. Don't get me wrong. You can catch good moves on these, but it's
If
just
if
a tougher chart.
if you go to plug, you remember I was in plug. That was one of my good trades for the year.
Hmm.
I'm pretty happy that I followed the sell rules now.
Yeah, no, that's why they exist.
Yeah, it has
Remember,
just
your goal
gone
is to
down.
capture some of stage 2.
Yeah, and this is one of the ones that maybe you would have tried the 20-day, because like you said, they are pretty tight together up until maybe 16 October, and then you keep holding, and it just doesn't work out.
Yeah, but at the same time too, is that you never know when that's going to be. So
Yeah,
if you had held this one till the 20, I might have said that. But see, this is what I'm also saying. Like this one's pretty explosive moves.
yeah,
Like in September, big move, then pulls back, and then huge move once again in the start of October.
yeah,
So the ones that have those big moves like that, I'm more apt to I think focus on the 10-day.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Like we talked
And then
about.
those ones like like B, you know, that one's
Yeah,
maybe a little bit easier to go the other route where it's a slow mover and you can try and do the 20 on that.
but they kind of have, you know, BE has a ADR on 9 and Plug has 11, so it's not that big of difference in the ADR. Or
Yeah,
it
but that
has
ADR
12.
is more recent. Like, yeah, this is I'm talking a lot bigger of a time
Yeah,
period.
yeah,
But I mean, even if you just look at the slope of the lines, like if you look at BE, those lines look almost parallel to each other.
yeah. They look much more clean.
And then when you look at plug,
Yeah,
it kind of is almost like that wave pattern where it pull the 10-day pulls away from it and then it gets a little bit tighter and then pulls away from it and then gets
yeah,
tight again.
yeah,
Like that's what I'm saying. That's what I like what I see when I see it real quick. Like, is it doing that or is it riding it close?
yeah. Oh, I agree. But good stock though.
Yeah,
One
no, I mean,
good stock for
plug's
a
one of those
year.
names that when it moves, it can move.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah,
all
no,
right, you got anything else, man?
no, we have been through most of the things. The one I'm most excited for this coming week is ASTS and maybe Rocket Lab. Not that that matters for anything, but that's the one on Monday at least I will be most focused to see if they have straight from the opening good volume and can break out.
Yeah, hopefully we can get some of these names.
Yeah,
And I mean, like I said, the Nasdaq it's ended pretty strong.
yeah, I did.
The one thing I'll say is, yeah, if you look at, and I know I haven't been able to post my market strength, but the breakouts are lower. They're still happening. There's still a decent amount of them, and actually the percentage of them that are working are it's still decent. Like if you're focused on getting good setups, you can catch a couple of these.
Yeah,
Um, but uh it's definitely like a lot of this money coming in. It's in some of those really big companies. Like that's why the Nasdaq and the S&P look good because it's
yeah,
Nvidia and Google. Um,
yeah.
some of those really big names that have moved up.
Yeah, which has some of them have disappointed a bit in the earnings now, and some have delivered. But it's going to be interesting to see if you get more rotation with that money again. Uh, but those are definitely the ones that have dragged the indexes up lately.
Yeah, wow. I just seen where Meta ended up. Meta was down.
Yeah,
They're below the 200.
but look at Amazon. They almost a 10% move in that stock. It's huge.
Yeah, no, I mean at that size,
Yeah, yeah.
it's still
Meta.
crazy that Nvidia according to this is twice the size of Amazon.
Yeah,
Like that is
yeah,
wild to me.
yeah.
Almost $5 trillion. Like what in the world?
And the
Like, don't
move.
get me wrong, I understand AI is a big deal, but this just seems absolutely crazy to me.
Yeah.
But then their PE is only 57. Like that's nuts. Like that's pretty good, for that size company.
Yeah, it is.
Like wow,
Yeah.
just incredible.
Also, probably why you should just focus on the chart if you want to go into Nvidia, because things can get very complicated looking at the fundamental numbers and all that stuff. Because sometimes things makes a lot of sense doing that, and sometimes it doesn't. And you start, how much bigger can this get? But if you just leave it to the charts, then it's much easier to participate on some of these upswings.
Well, look how good like June 24th looks
Um, yeah,
for
exactly.
Nvidia.
Yeah, yeah.
Like a super clean breakout, and then from
Yeah.
there, if you rode this till the 10 or the 20, um, I mean, the
This would
10 kind of breaks down on July 22nd, but even if you got out there, still a great run. And
But
if
this
you
would
held it to the
probably,
20, I mean, you held all the way till August 19th, a huge run.
which we just talked about, this is probably where you should have used the 20, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I mean, these are big companies.
yeah, But the face meta that looks pretty ugly. And
Yeah,
you
no, that's what I
know,
was saying. I was like the meta
yeah,
chart. That's the only one of the bigger guys that definitely missed.
yeah. But also Google. I remember I texted you like Google looked good. You know, setup wise last week
Yeah,
on Friday. But that was
yeah,
before earnings, so maybe a bit risky to take it there. But it did deliver, and Google, you know, it could. I guess it can run even further up here.
yeah. But I would say now looking back on the 24th, that's a clear
That's a
breakout to me.
very good breakout. But it was only, you know, 5 or 4 days before the earnings report. But look at how tight that candle on 33 was,
Yeah.
and on low volume
I
as
mean,
well.
don't get me wrong. I'm not going in like it's like Google's PE is only 27. That's pretty wild too.
What else did I see? And look at TSM. TSM looks good actually on a breakout pattern.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, if this can break above like 310.
Yeah. I feel like there was one more of these that went down a bit. Well, maybe it was Netflix. I think it was Netflix that I saw. Yeah, it was Netflix. But they
Yeah.
had earnings a bit earlier. It fell. It's coming maybe now around and 200-day as well now.
Man, I can't believe this is $1,000 right now.
Hold on, Dane. I didn't notice. We have some people in the chat here.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't have it pulled up.
Voxigon, he's saying, "Hey guys, been a minute. Earning season is always a wild ride." Yeah, that's what we're kind of going through now, Voxigon.
Yeah,
Thanks
it's
for
kind of a
tuning in,
pain.
by the way. Nice to see you again.
I wish we could get it where the chat came over into like Discord or something.
Yeah, maybe you can.
Once again, why it would be nice if I had my I mean, I do have my second screen for the laptop. I guess I could have hooked that up, but I
Yeah.
didn't think to. But
How's you doing? How are you doing, Voxigon? He's saying, "I wonder how Netflix stock split will affect its price. I feel stock splits always give a little bump. I didn't even think about messaging on Discord. No, get into Discord. We are a bit more active there than on, you know, X and all that stuff lately. But during the stream, you can just use the chat because I'm not watching Discord then. But maybe we can add a function there, Dane. I will look into it. If it
yeah, speaking
exists.
of stock splits, I was holding NVA and
Oh yeah.
and its stock split, and I sold it on Thursday, just
And
thinking like, okay, it's up. Like I'll take the stock split, I'll take the win. And then of
yeah.
course Friday it merges it, and I was like, oh god, I could have held part. I should have held like part of it.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a good move.
But either way, as Minervini and these guys say too, when you sell on and up, like even though it goes up higher than that, like you're always happy to sell it for a win. So
Yeah. Can't be too greedy.
yeah, no, it's true. But this will probably go up, $20 tomorrow.
Microsoft also turned around a little bit after their earnings, but it did beat estimates. I don't know why, but it came down again after building a pretty long base, actually. Maybe even a cup and handle pattern.
Yeah, I don't know. It's been
Yeah.
pretty clean.
Voxigon is saying, yeah, I saw a past live stream where you guys were talking about holding a partial position on a run-up. Yeah. Through earnings, is that what you mean? Probably. Like if I think both Dane and I have concluded that in swing trading, we don't really want to hold through our earnings report. But if you were gonna, you should, at least according to what we have seen, you should trim the position probably a bit
Yeah,
heavy
it's just
before our
it's a
earnings report.
crapshoot because Microsoft's a good example. Is even if it beats earnings, like even though it beats earnings, a lot of people be like, or might be thinking like, okay, it beat earnings, we're up. Let's trim here. So you get a lot of sell off even on good earnings. So you're just taking a risk. But I mean, yeah, whether you're talking earnings or just holding it because you're up on a position and you're using a moving average, like look at Microsoft from May 1st, like huge gap up that day, and then from there, this thing trickles up till when did it finally break the 10-day? On August 13th or whatever this is, August, I guess 7th it broke it. So
Yeah,
I
or
mean that's
maybe 23 of July, briefly, but it doesn't matter. It's still a good run.
oh yeah, sure. Either you're right.
Yeah,
I just saw the green candle, so I wasn't even looking at that one. But yes,
yeah.
but that
But
one, I mean, that's a good day where it bounced off the 20, so it also kind of shows strength there too.
yeah, and I think it closed just above. No, sorry, it doesn't. But these have low ADR, so these are the ones that you should probably aim to get a heavy position into if you're gonna take them
Yeah.
on a setup. So
Yeah, these are the ones you can kind of safely sit as they trickle up.
yeah, which I also seen, like I saw a guy, I wrote about it in Discord. Clement is his name. I really liked his interview. Fantastic interview, I think. But he, and I know a lot of other people do this as well. I think I don't remember which ticker it was, but he used like a leveraged version of a ETF. It was Ethereum or something like that, I think. And he did a leverage version, which I think usually people don't recommend to do that. But I've seen a lot of swing traders. That's how they play some of these more heavy movers, because maybe if they break out and they go up, they don't go up so much. But then if you have the leverage version, you still kill it, you know.
Yeah.
But I'm not there yet where I'm gonna consider doing that, because it can move the other way too.
Yeah, that's the big problem is it always
Yeah,
can move against you. But I mean, that's why I think no matter what, it's smart. Like you hear the guys and they're like, no matter what, even when swing trading, you shouldn't be much over like 30% in one position and be holding that overnight,
yeah,
because anything can happen. And as you get bigger and bigger, you don't want to take some stupid massive hit on something.
no,
So I feel like at this point, like I probably won't go much over 25% into a position.
yeah, I
Um,
agree. That's
it's
where I
just
have my
it's
limit.
just not worth the headache of that, and
No,
knowing that you have that much writing. Don't get me wrong. If you just happen to catch a good move on a day and you're up like a ton and you're waiting for something to pull back, that's fine. But at the end of the day, if I get like a really big move that pushes me over 25%, I'll probably trim just to get that number down.
yeah,
Like
and
take some of the win. If you're already up, like take that win.
but it's also then if you succeed with that, you trim, let's say you trim down to a 10% position, then, which is kind of maybe your normal position size.
Hmm.
That's also a good play, you know.
Well, that, and then if you're wrong and it keeps working, like you can add back onto the position in
Yeah,
the
you
next
can
setup.
add it back. Yeah. So
So
Voxygon is saying, yeah, I guess it depends how long you want to hold it. If you're just in and out, it might make sense to sell the whole position on a profit, but it's always hard to know for sure. That is true, and then we just focus on downside risk, right? That's kind of what we are doing here, Dane, right?
yeah, and to your point, if you just do the simple math, like go through leading stocks, if you are always, don't get me wrong, it's important to sell in trim positions because a lot of these don't work. But if mathematically you hold stuff till a 10 or a 20-day moving average, just across the board, you make more money doing it's
Yeah.
just there in any metric. You can just go on ChatGPT and just look at the math real quick on if you have a few that outperform by holding it. Um, even for the ones that pull back on the trim, if you had just sold it all up front, it only takes one stock that goes up, like 3 or 4 times past that point that you held, that can make, and that's why all the big swing traders say that, it's probably only 5% of their stocks that actually really move everything for them. And that's because every once in a while you get lucky and you get in that one that just runs for 2 months or something like that. And, ends up being a 300% return or a 200% return, whatever it is. And that's going to make your year, even if it's a trimmed position, it's still
Yeah.
huge for the portfolio.
Yeah. I tried to run some simulations in ChatGPT about performance and stuff like that, and I tried to be conservative, but ChatGPT was even more conservative because what I found, like it used too few of those like really crazy R returns, like the big ones, like the 20, 30, 40 R stuff,
Mhm.
because those actually exist. You can manage to catch quite a few of them in a good year, I think. And
Yeah,
those
and
are
I
the
mean,
ones
if
we
you just
talk
look at
about.
like if you look at like Minervini's numbers or Q's numbers, Minervini, for instance, is shooting for 3 to 5 R return on almost anything.
Yeah.
So let's assume that he gets 3 on average. And let's assume he's at like a 40% hit rate. Just on that alone, if you had just done that, you're taking a few trades each week all year, you're going to be up like 50, 60% just on that. If you have, like, let's say once or twice a month, one that goes up to, like, I don't know, 10R because you held it for a long term, that's where you get to like where your returns like 200%. So it's like I said, you only need one or two, in a time period, and you can really outperform on those. And obviously there's an art to knowing your setups, knowing which ones that you want to go heavier into. But as long as you're keeping that risk isolated to a certain percentage, which I know he uses between zero 0.2 and zero 0.3 usually of his portfolio, um, you can just outperform so easily. And
Yeah.
one thing mathematically that I figured out this week that's really made a big difference for me is if you want to be in decent sized positions. Like I like doing the 2.5% that I was doing before on most of my positions just because it kept that risk low. But you have to increase your risk. If you want to outperform, you have to increase your risk size, which means you have to take larger percentage positions. That's the only way you'll get better at swing trading. If
Yeah.
you constantly have low risk, you will not make as much money. It's
Oh,
just how the math works. So you have to increase that risk. Now you only increase the risk once you know what you're going to get. Like if you know your hit rate's 40% on setups, you should start to increase your risk. Like let's say after 2 or 3 years, you're consistent, your hit rate is always 40%. Well, by knowing that your hit rate's 40%, you should start to bump that risk up because then you know what your drawdowns will be and you know what your outperformance will be. And if you do something as simple as go from, like I was just doing the math. If I did 0.25% risk on every trade, and I said my return is 1 out of 3, so 1 out of 3 stocks meet a 3-to-1 return, and I think I said like each month, let's say one stock hits like 10R or something like that. Either that or I just said overall average it to like 6R, for like the big winners along with the smaller winners. And I think it was like a 200% return or something like that if it was a 0.25% risk on every trade. But if I bumped it to zero 0.3, it became a 300% return. And they
yeah.
said you'll experience up to 20% larger drawdowns, but you'll also perform an extra 100%.
Yeah.
So you'll hear some of the best traders say that in order to get better at trading, you have to slowly increase your risk size. And depending on how you do it, it's just kind of whatever. But you have to figure out how confident you are in what you can get, and then you can start to play with that risk, and you can start to see. So you got to find consistency in whatever your setups are.
And this is probably also where Minavini talks a lot about. You can try to up your risk when you have some traction, you get more
Right.
confidence per trade, and then you can slowly just build on taking a bit more risk, and maybe you time it right and get the kind of returns that you want.
Right.
uh,
So
Voxigon is also saying, hold on, I personally like the idea of holding about half of the opposition, like set 2 stops essentially. And that's kind of what we have talked
yeah.
about also, like sell half. There's tons of way to do this, and you don't need to lock yourself into one method, but what some people are talking about in books and stuff is exactly what you said there. Sell half the position and then trail half with one of the key moving averages.
Right. And yeah, I think if you follow a strategy like that, you can outperform pretty well. So, like I said, going forward, I'm going to stick to this one. I honestly think there's not much I can do here to really continue to hone things. Obviously, continuing to work on going into good setups. I'm going to keep adjusting my screener slowly to make sure that I'm only getting better setups and that I'm not trying to focus on stuff that's that I shouldn't be. That the risk starts to go up because every time you're taking lower like a lot of these guys are talking about how when it's a poor setup, you should go in smaller, but at the same time too, the other way of handling that, and it almost makes more sense to me, is not taking those C setups. If I'm going to take setups, I just need to outperform on the best setups.
Yeah, that's kind of what I concluded with as well, because I had my script program to just adjust my position sizing according to the low of the day point and how extended it was from that. And I think that's a good strategy. But what I experienced was when I took too small of position size, it didn't really matter, you know?
Right.
So I need to get in 5%, I think, as a minimum right now to be able to even bother a bit. Maybe I will go back on that, but that's where I am right now.
Yeah, I think that's where my cutoff is at this point. I've noticed it's got to be at least 5%. But this is why I was saying it's really important to think about it that way, because if your position size is 5% and your risk is a certain percent of that, if you're going to try and outperform, the higher the stock has to go up each time, depending on what that number is. So, for instance, you take a 5% position, and let's say your risk is 1%. Well, now you need the stock to go up. Um, uh, I guess that would be 10% of five would be, a 1% move. So you can let the stock go down that much, but you also now need the stock to go up that much. So the smaller the position size, the more you need a stock to move to even hit that 3R or 4R or whatever it's trying to be. So if you're taking small positions like, 2.5%, well, in order to outperform the risk that you're taking on, you need that stock to go up 30, 40%. And how many actually go up 30, 40%? Not many. So if you take 10% positions, well, now you only need the stock to go up 10% and you're already up 3R.
We talked about a bit earlier also, like when you see something, you need to get on them, and then I don't think you should need to get on them with a 2% position. It should be a higher percentage, but of course this needs to be something that you this is the process that we have now spent more than a year. You have done so, Dane. I'm not quite in for a year yet, but we are fine-tuning things constantly. And I know I saw an interview with some guy now recently, actually same guy who talked about if you had used the 20-day moving average as a stop, it would give you much better results. But he took 50% positions, even higher. But he also said that when the weekend comes and he has a 50% position in, he can't sleep.
Yeah, I wouldn't be able to either.
No, but it needs to be like you need to find your own style and your own way. So
Yeah, like I said, if I'm taking a 50% position, I'm trimming that before before the markets close.
yeah,
I'm not holding that
but super
through an overnight.
successful, right? The guy is successful.
Well, don't get me wrong. Some
Yeah,
people are able to mentally handle that. I don't think I'm there
yeah,
where I want to do that.
no,
I've had it work against me. I don't need
yeah,
it to work against me.
yeah. We have some experience in that field as well.
Yeah, so
Um,
I don't see myself taking something that large. I picture like 30% kind of being like my peak
yeah,
now.
no, I agree with that.
And even that, like I don't want to hold that for long. Like
No, and
I'm gonna start to trim that on whatever it's up and just be happy that I was able to get that large of a position on something and make some cash on it.
yeah, and I think to get to 30, it would be add from already existing maybe 20% position. Um,
Right. I
I'm not
agree.
sure if I would jump in with a 30% straight away, but maybe I will never say never.
Yeah, I mean, you know, you find the right setup at the right time, and you're like, I'm going at it.
Yeah,
Then do it because that's honestly what separates the pros. I mean, the
yeah,
pros are able to go heavy when you need to.
yeah. So
So
Voxy is saying, yeah, leverage stuff is scary to me, but it exists for a reason, I guess. Yeah, we don't do that so much right now, but people are doing it. Very successful traders are using it very successfully. So maybe someday I will dare to jump into something like that.
yeah, I'm not going to use leverage until like I've really proven myself that
Yeah,
you know, like let's say I've been doing this for 10 years and like, you know, I found real consistency and things are going really well. Then I might consider it because I kind of know what my risk tolerance is then even with the leverage attached. And you know, I probably know how to apply it properly, but not now. No way.
no,
That's next level. I'm not
yeah.
there.
And also he's saying that makes sense, but it also scary. Time to get good. Time it's also scary. Time to get good at finding those winners. I'm not sure. Probably I'm not sure what that was to Voxy, but maybe you talked about scaling into like bigger positions for those bigger R returns.
Right.
Which can be scary, and that's why we talked about um, in the books we have read and stuff like that. They talk so much about proving to yourself that you are in a good place with your trading, and using that confidence to slowly start to build your position sizes.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
uh,
So other than that, it's all you can do. I mean, and you know, like I think this is why everybody says, like, you get to a point where it's like, okay, I kind of have my strategy, I have the setups that I'm looking for. Now I need to know how consistent am I at these. And as soon as you know that, you can start to plan everything around it. But you got to figure that out first.
yeah. Which also takes time, because you need at least a year to go through your trading history and be able to get some proper data points from it, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
Because
And
and especially after your first where you test and tweak so many things, you should probably wait for another year, because in that year your personality is going to show.
right.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, and you'll
50%
figure out what works for
positions.
you, how when you're gonna enter, how you find stuff, what you know, whatever it is.
Yeah, yeah,
All right,
no.
man.
Yeah, I think thanks for tuning in, Moxie. It was nice to see you again, and good conversation here. I hope I hope you can watch the next one as well, because Dana and I speak about this often after we turn off the stream, that it's so good when people are using the chat, because we get a little bit of a different conversation going that I think we like very very much. So yeah,
Yeah, no, it
nice.
just sparks different ideas having other people in the conversation because we,
Yeah,
you know, we're just looking at the charts and just kind of going through and reflecting on stuff. And, you know, when other people come in and can throw some other questions at you, it just changes everything.
yeah. Like last time Value was here, and we went through some deep value stuff again. So that was also nice, So yeah.
Right.
All right. Um, are we on for the next weekend, Dane? I think. Hold on. Is it the 8th, right? On Saturday. It's. I'm not gonna be able to stream on Saturday, I think. So maybe Sunday.
All right. Yeah. Just let me know. I'm not sure what I'm doing all next weekend. So I'll have to
Yeah.
let you know.
My local football team is playing against the stupid neighbors again, so I'm going to the game.
Well, good luck.
Yeah, thank you. One more chat though. Voxy is saying, yeah, I'm usually sleeping in on the weekend, but I woke up early, so I figured to drop in and see. Fun times. Really curious how the next 2 months will play out. Yeah, same here.
Yeah.
Same here.
Same. You know, the markets they look good right now. And so far it seems like a decent earnings season. So
Yeah, it does.
I just
Yeah.
realized I could move my beer in here. It's pretty cool.
All right. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, everyone, and we will try to update in the Discord when we're gonna stream next weekend then, and yeah, hopefully people will tune in. And good
Yep.
luck
Yeah.
on.
As always.
Yeah,
But yeah. Have a good weekend, everybody.
yeah. See ya. Bye bye.
Bye.